I'm back. I'm going to try to make a third video to post. Oh, we're being supervised. 7th day of a new year. I'll tell you, it's been, I've actually made 2 or 3 videos about what I was doing with this little guy. But things have been going crazy, man. My world is going crazy. Did you ever have one of those cases where you just got to do one thing? Might take 10 minutes. Then all of a sudden, but wait, there's more. You got all kinds of things to do. Well, that's what's happened. I wasted 3 videos, but I learned a lot. And so we're now looking at trying to progress my little adapter piece there to fit this nice pulley set for my drill press. But so what have I done in the past couple days? Well, just trying to take care of all the other issues. That all started with the problem I had with the tailstock. There it is on all its glory. It's working good, hopefully. But I finally had to figure out that little screw that has a hex fingers and a slotted screw to be able to make it work. Had to file that. That was an adventure. Oh, and then I bumped my hand on the very top part where it's kind of squared off, the tool rest, and that hurt. So I found this little cover. Looks like a British derby or Irish derby. Yeah. When something hurts, I don't like to repeat it. But anyway, we're working on other things. Ooh, we'll get to that. In fact, I actually made a list. Oh, and speaking of the list, first thing I wanted to mention was to all you YouTubers out there who have done videos on taking these things apart, restoring them, using them. Thank you. Thank you for giving me an education so I could get this far with this little guy. Seems to be on the level. What else we got? Oh, maybe you noticed that little handle in the other video, black, no problem. But it was also kind of rough. So I took it over the wire wheel and the grinding wheel and found out the whole thing was brazed together. And I went and put a little turny thingy on. Make it a little easier to use. And had to cut a depression all the way around and then put in one of those snap rings to hold it in place. Works good. So that's one of the things I did to preoccupy myself. That's not one of the things I had to do, but I wanted to do something I wanted to do because I did all the other things that I had to do. So taking care of this guy was good. All right, now we're getting all set up to drill the center hole through there. But let's see, gears. I basically am doing an analysis. Okay, so I said thank you to the YouTubers, the quill issue. Oh, I was out of focus for a lot of stuff. That's because when I put it up in here to look down, I found out that the where the lens is was covered by the plastic, and I think that's what was giving me the problems with issues on focusing. So now just holding it. See, I talk about focusing, and now I hate smartphones. I hate anything that's smarter than me, and that's most everything. So with the gears, the banjo had a little bit of an issue. That's that set of lower gears right there. That's attached to this beam and held together by that screw for tightness. Well, that had loosened up a little bit in my initial run, and so it came off and disengaged so that these gears weren't working with each other. So I had to tighten up that, and after I got that done and in place, I had to use a piece of index paper to run it through the gear before I tightened it up to make sure it was the right clearance. And it sounds pretty good now. There was also a case of this gear right here needed a little spacer on the inside to get it out where it is best hitting all the other gears. So I had to do a little tweaking in there. And then we get around to, let's light it up. The belts. Okay. Nicely there, but it was a case where you see that pulley that it's on right there, that coincides to the drawing here. That should be 120 RPMs when it goes to the other side and works with the bigger gear, like it does. But this pulley is always going at the motor speed, 1725 RPMs. Okay, so you're going from a littler gear. Every time that thing turns around, based on the ratio of the sizes, the other one up here spins maybe a fifth, if that, of its rotation. So it's slowing down right there, big time, by about 5 times slower than 1725. So I didn't have it on that gear for the lowest one before. Sorry, but in order to get it into this position where I could utilize that pulley, I had to move. Get this stuff out of here. My drill holes. I had to reposition the part that is holding the motor in place. So that's another thing I had to do. So I wanted to do something I wanted to do, so I came up with this little guy. That is a wicked strong half of a magnet that I had that I cut in half, but very, very strong. All right. And I figured I didn't have a magnetic way to hold my dial indicator. So now I do. Okay, there's the dial indicator back in its box where it should be. But this little guy serves a couple of purposes. Obviously, it's holding my sheet to the motor. And, you know, we're in the red zone. If my hand were to come across here, heading toward a belt or something like that, it wants to stop me. I bump into something that says, hey, get your hand out of here. And it works to hold my dial indicator. We'll test that at some point. So, I got the motor moved. The pulleys are all lined up. The RPMs, as stated, are good. I know what I'm doing. My drive gears are okay. And speaking of them, those are the only ones that have ever been used. Those right there. In this little container, let me take off the cover, I got a whole bunch of other gears. Never used. That came with the bag. Awesome stuff. Okay, so moving right along. Gears are okay. Belt's okay. Motor's okay. My little hand won't get in there. It holds up the paper. And I think I'm pretty much ready to rock and roll. Okay, but what else did I need to talk about? I am so glad that the outside world is going just along the way it should be. You know, it's a bright, sunny day. Everybody's happy. But here I am in here, my barn, with all these issues that I'm dealing with. You can tell it's out of control. But we're trying. We're going to get there. First thing I got to do is dig out my glasses. And put them on. Sorry for making you seasick while moving the camera. Which reminds me, I'm going to get my thing back here. And I'm going to put my camera into it. And take a look-see through to see what I'm viewing with my step stool. Oh, that looks pretty good right there. And it seems to be in focus, so I'm not looking at the plastic. All right. And it's still blinking red, so we're still recording. Awesome. Take off my gloves. Plug in the lathe. They work a lot better that way. And let's turn it on. That's turning at 120 RPM supposedly. And what do I want to do? I want to make sure it's tight. Oh man, the curse is starting again. And that's not steel. Even a magnet won't get that out. I might have to move this whole lathe just to get in there. The video will end now. Encountering technical difficulties. So, good thing I was going to check that. It was loose. Lesson of the day learned. Tighten up everything. I'll be back.